In this episode of the Pennsylvania Hunter, I'm going to take our family's Model 7 Tru-Oil and refinish the beat up stock. Okay, so this is what I'm dealing with here. We got a lot of just scratches and damage on this beautiful stock. I just like the look of wood, and unfortunately this gun's just been through a lot. You've probably watched our bear hunting videos if you watch our channel, and you've noticed that we go through a lot of laurel, we go through a lot of brush, so the guns get beat up, and unfortunately this Model 7 has been a casualty of that. This side of the gun in particular has gotten some pretty bad wear marks. This would be the side that we're right-handed, so you're carrying on your right shoulder, so this is like, you know, hitting your pack, your gear. This finish right here, this is just horrible. I'm thinking maybe that was rubbing up against a zipper or something. I don't know. It's just worn very badly. We're going to see if we can bring this gun back to life. Same thing down here on the butt of the stock. Just some scratches from carrying. I'm hoping it's not deep into the wood. Alright, the first step is to break this gun down, and right behind the trigger guard here there's a hex head. And we're going to start breaking this apart here. This should be a 3/32 inch. And then we got a 5/32 hidden underneath here. That's going to get out your trigger guard assembly. And then with that, your stock is free from the rest of your firearm. The next thing I'm going to do is remove the swivel studs. I'm just using a kind of an Allen key here that's about the same diameter as the hole. It's coming out fairly easy. And the front stud as well here. Now the washer for these studs have been pressed in there pretty hard. I just kind of worked those out really slowly and carefully with a screwdriver. Okay, and I found out the recoil pad here, it's held in by 2 Phillips heads, but when I took those out, it is glued on, so I'm not going to try to take that off. I'm just going to try to work around it. It's going to be difficult, but I don't want to try to get into something I can't repair. Okay, the stock is all broken down. We're ready to start the actual process here. The kit that I got is the Tru-Oil kit. I just got this off of Midway USA. It was only like 15 bucks. It's got full directions, everything you need, so I'm hoping it's going to go smooth. And the first step of this is to use an appropriate stripper, so enter whatever joke you'd want to in the comments. But this was some stripper I had. I've had this here for a while after doing like a furniture project. Okay, so I'm going to start applying here. I just got the cheapest paintbrush that you could possibly buy. No sense in getting anything too expensive, and just start applying here. I'm going to try to keep my hands out of the way of the camera view so you guys can actually see what's going on. And I'm just going to try to apply this pretty liberally to the gun, to the stock, and let it do its thing. I'm going to try to pull everything out of that checkering too. I did put a sling swivel stud back in just so I can hold it if I want to flip it over or move it or whatever. Let's give this a flip here. And get the other side. Okay, then we're just going to put another piece of plastic wrap right over top of that. Like so. Just keep that sealed. Just let that do its thing. And I'll be back in about a few hours. Alright, round 2. This is the second application that I have put on of stripper. And I found out that it is very stubborn to get this off. So I imagine this is going to be a long process, but it's coming off just slowly. So it's getting a good chunk of it off. Tedious, but I want to make sure it's done right. Okay, and I just wanted to point out, you can see this is an old stripper. So you can see that it's thicker bodied, kind of takes on a brunette type appearance. Very slow moving. This is some fresh stripper. You can see that it flows much quicker, easier to work with, and much more spreadable. Here's what I got so far. I got the stripper for the entire stock done twice, wrapped in plastic twice. Got everything to bubble and come off fairly nicely. However, some of the tight spots, kind of right in here, the tight spot of the sock, right where your hand grip is, you know, some of those areas up in here, I really had to work at them really hard with a another coat of stripper, just to work it in with a paintbrush, let it sit, come back at it, scrape. That apparently the lacquer that Remington puts on there is just extremely durable, extremely thick, and tough to get off. For the checkering, I've tried to protect the checkering. I've been really careful trying to not mess around with that too much. I did take a toothbrush with a stripper on it and try to work it in there. I'm going to try to do that again and hopefully kind of work that out, but I'm trying not to tear up the checkering. I'm not going to recut it. I know that's what a lot of guys do. They're supposed to sand this down and kind of recut that to make it sharp again. For a hunting rifle, for one we're just going to take right back out in the woods, I'm not going to go to that level, but that's certainly an option for somebody else that wants to do this. Okay, I've kind of moved on to sanding here, and the kit will include 120, 180, and 280 grit sandpaper for you, and there's probably enough there to do it. Actually, they give you a second sheet of the 120. I happen to have, I did do this once with the 120, went over it kind of lightly. I'm going to move on to the 180. One thing that I found that really helped me was I had these Durablocks from doing some auto body stuff. They come in different block sizes, but I did have some 180 that had the adhesive back, and I've been just trying to go through here, and when I get to the checkering, I'm just trying to just be real light and easy right in that area there. The Durablock also has like these kind of a round block too, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to see in the right here, you know, in the upper part of the grip, you can kind of work right. It's almost a perfect diameter to go right into there, so you can get that area, you know, keep that about the same type of dimensions that it came from the stock from the Remington factory. Okay, so I got the sanding all done. As I said, I went with 120 to 180 to 280, And then I forgot the one step. It said in the directions to hit it with an extra fine steel wool. And I did that, and it is extremely smooth. So I think the stock is ready to go. I have it masked off a few spots where I didn't want the stain to get. But we are ready to go here. What they say to do for the actual walnut stain right there is you mix it with water 50-50. And I was a little concerned. I don't want this to be too dark, but I want the wood to also kind of be rich but show a little bit of grain. So I'm going with a 50-50 mixture, just trying to get a little bit of color to it. And then when it hits it with Tru-Oil, I'm hoping that that's just going to be perfect. So let's get going here. So here we are, the stain is dry, and now I am ready to actually start applying the Tru-Oil and get a good finish on. The first thing that I did though is I had to go through and mask all the checkering, because you don't want to build up of the Tru-Oil getting on that. You know, if you build up too much on that, it's not going to be checkering, it's just going to ruin the whole purpose of it. And I have the gun hung vertical just from a spot on my venting right there, but just kind of keeps it up, and that way I don't touch it and smear it. One thing I did want to point out too with the Tru-Oil, for the first coat you want to try to put a thin coat on, but it says to wait up to 24 hours for that first coat, and then for additional coats you wait at least 12 hours between coats. So a little bit of discrepancy there. Then even on the bottle, whether you'll be able to see it or not, it says allow to dry thoroughly at least 2 hours. So I guess you just do common sense. You just look and see what maybe what environment you're in. I'm in downstairs my basement here, but the heat pump is just right behind me, so it's always pumping moisture out of the air, and so it's a real dry environment. But I just wanted to point that out, so if anyone else runs into that issue and is wondering what's going on. And I say to just apply this Tru-Oil with your fingers. Just get a very thin coat. Okay, moving right along, I now have 3 coats of Tru-Oil on the stock, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to knock this down with some superfine steel wool and then put on another light coat. And I think I'm going to do that pattern for a few times. So 3 more coats of Tru-Oil, then knock it down, 3 more coats of Tru-Oil, knock it down, just kind of see where we're at from there. Just a small little bit of steel wool there. Pushing real lightly. I forgot to mention, in between the knocking down with the steel wool, take a tack cloth and go over it and get all that debris off there before you put another coat of Tru-Oil. I'm about ready to put on my 8th coat, and you can kind of see here it's really starting to shine up some. It's looking good. It's not quite to the level that I want. I want a nice good gloss, but we're getting there. Okay, so in between my coats of Tru-Oil, I just wanted to touch up this trigger guard assembly and drop magazine cover. If you probably noticed from my original video there, the gun's condition, you saw that black paint was chipped on there as well. And so what I did is I just kind of started sanding this down, took off some of the edges. I'm not going to worry about the area that goes into the gun, since that's not going to be seen, but at least the spot right here where the drop magazine is, and right in the trigger guard there where it was kind of rubbed off there. I'm just going to use an enamel paint, something very simple, and then I'll let it dry and we'll buff it off and hopefully it'll look brand new. Okay, here we are on the home stretch. I have 11 coats of Tru-Oil on the stock. I have it buffed down right now with steel wool, ready for the 12th coat. The 12th will hopefully be the final coat. But just before I do that, I took the masking off of the checkering, and I'm going to work Tru-Oil into the checkering with the toothbrush just to get it in there. I just want one coat, just kind of to seal it. And then we'll put that 12th coat on, and hopefully in about a day we will be set. Just the last few detailed things. For the pistol end cap here, I decided to spray that with a lacquer rather than putting the Tru-Oil on it. I thought a finish might come out just a little bit nicer. And I did the same thing also for this spacer that's back here between the stock and the recoil pad. The last thing that's on the Tru-Oil kit is, this is the remaining bottle of the 3 bottles, stock sheen and conditioner. And when I first saw this, I thought it was something that would provide a gloss or protect the gloss on the stock. It actually turns out it's the opposite of that. If you use this, it'll reduce your gloss finish to a satin finish. And at least at this point in time, I don't want to do that. But I am going to keep the bottle. It's unopened, and at some time I might choose to do that. Actually, for a hunting rifle, that might be a good thing. It might reduce the glare. Here it is, the final product. After about 4 weeks, I finally got this done. And I should say that 4 weeks is not, I didn't work at it entirely for 4 weeks, but there might be a time where I missed a day or something like that. So, but it does take a long time with Tru-Oil. Let me just give you a little rundown here. Obviously looks just much better. Scratches are gone, the dings are gone. Checkering came out pretty nice. I thought, was a little worried maybe it might be a different color. It wouldn't match up well, but it certainly did. Turned out really nice. Let me give you a flip here. If you remember from my beginning videos, this was the side of the gun that was really bad. A little bit of nicking right there is gone. And this in particular was the area that was really worn. And it was mainly all the finish. It was what I had hoped. Not a lot of ding into the walnut. Did a little repaint job there on the metal. And the same down through here. Just a real nice gloss. No nicks. So excited. I almost don't want to take the gun back out in the woods. But it will. It's going to go back out hunting. So in the end, would I recommend the Tru-Oil kit? Absolutely. I certainly would. If you got the time and the patience, you certainly can do this at home. If I can do it, you can do it. I am an average woodworker at best. I'm certainly not a gunsmith. The only thing that I would add is make sure you do it to the right application. As I stated, this gun is a hunting gun for us. It's going to go right back out in the field. That's the value of the gun for us. That it's hunting, it's working. I'm going to use it. Anthony's going to use it. John's going to use it. If you have a gun that is possibly of some value, it could be of some sentimental value, like a grandfather's gun handed down. Maybe there's another avenue to possibly go. Or a gun just of extreme monetary value. Certainly you wouldn't want to do this to like a Model 70 pre-64. Lastly, you wouldn't want to do it to a gun either that has a historic value to it. Maybe a military piece or something like that. I would just be careful with what you're doing and make sure you use the right application. We will see you on the next video. The Pennsylvania Hunter.